Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. So this video is about the Charlie Kirk shooting. First of all, I'd like to urge you all to not celebrate the murder of this person. He represented the idea of having a conversation with the other side, though I do believe his discussions were scripted, and I don't agree with him about quite a few things. But his murder was symbolic of the government sending a message to people, especially people like me who make a lot of videos, that they don't want people to effectively discuss issues. He wasn't way over the line that they give him, but he was a little bit over it, as he was very polite, and he gave the opposition view a certain respect quite often. He was somebody who they put out there to kind of make it seem like people who are white and more conservative are magically superior. Okay. Now keep in mind that one of the lowest tactics in American history when it comes to politics is taking place right now. And that is the tactic of making it seem like the left is just people who are woke or people who are radical. Those people are maybe 5% of the left. The vast majority of leftists see things more like I do than like the woke activists or extreme LGBT activists, what have you. They believe that there should be a logical system of taxes where there's wealth taxes on the rich, and they believe that there should be cost-effective spending. People in California were not celebrating when the money that was supposed to go to housing the homeless and helping the homeless was being misused and unaccounted for. There are groups on the left that dominate the left that are very small groups, relatively speaking, and they have really brought down the left in recent years. And as they are corporatists, they're more like the right wing. So I don't want people to think that I had a very favorable view of Charlie Kirk. To some degree, I had somewhat of a favorable view that, because he said some things about Christianity that I agree with. Of the Christians who compromise their integrity to the point where they're allowed to be a celebrity, he seemed to be one of them who was a bit more logical looking than the others. And so when they killed him, it was also symbolic of saying that they don't want certain types of Christians to be seen and looked up to, because a huge part of the New World Order is LGBT. It's kind of these Jewish nerds. It's these kind of Orthodox Jews are a little bit nerdy. They're a huge part of it. But perhaps the biggest part of it are people who are more like him, ironically. People who wear suits and come off as more like a gentleman or something. And they want to limit how many of them there are. And they wanted to make it so that that he would be seen a certain way and that they would be seen a certain way, because they like to manipulate how people look at things. So I'm going to make a whole playlist that I'm going to dedicate to the idea of talking to the other side. And it's going to be inspired by the unfortunate killing of Charlie Kirk. So to some degree, I'm going to say, because I can in good conscience dedicate a whole playlist to this person because I didn't agree with him, because he said things that were designed to make it harder for black people, but he wasn't the most angry person who says racist things or what have you. But he certainly painted a certain picture a certain way, and he also represents for people who think that they can play things from the inside. Yeah, I'm 43 years old. This month I'll be 44 years old. He died at 31, if I'm not mistaken. And, I get fumed and poisoned every day. I outlived him. Because if you do what the government says, you don't necessarily live a longer life. But I think that we should all remember him for many things, right? For the things he did wrong, but also the things he did right. And that included being very diplomatic and allowing people to discuss things with him, though I do believe it's scripted between the way he did things and the way the government does things. They have a way to plant people in scenarios like that. They have a way to use technology to control people's movements in crowds. I can tell you that with certainty. And I warn you again for the umpteenth time, as they say, that the government has a way to hack many people's brains at the same time, and they are controlling sexual behavior. If people want to honor Charlie Kirk, they should be honest about everything. I immediately commented and said that, yesterday when I got the news that he was murdered. Okay. And I also made videos that they didn't let me upload because, that's a long story. I put in the comments if I remember, but they didn't let me upload the video and the short video I made yesterday. They also, hinted that they were going to do this because, Salt Lake City, it connects to certain ideas that they were discussing leading up to this shooting. And they do that in this case, right? I'm targeted. I have 23 witnesses on record. And quite often, before a major event, they give little hints that it's coming. Thank you.